This is Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. They're arguably the two best hockey players in the world left in these playoffs, yet no one seems to care as most predictions have them as underdogs going up against a monster that awaits them in Dallas. On the other side is an Original Six franchise looking to repeat history, while their opponent tries to make their own. This is your all-in-one guide to the strategies and storylines to the conference finals, so let's take a deeper look at how these teams will tear each other apart for a chance to play for Lord Stanley. The New York Rangers versus the Florida Panthers. This series has everything you need. Superstar talent up front, amazing goaltending, and two veteran coaches who have seemingly found a way to maximize the personnel on their team. The Rangers came into the playoffs as the President Trophy winners, and after easily sweeping Washington, they beat a solid Hurricane team in 6 games. Meanwhile, the Panthers made quick work of Tampa before beating the Bruins in 6. With the Rangers and Panthers meeting in the conference finals, this matchup is a complete clash of styles. Both teams defend well, but the Panthers lean on their physical nature in all 3 zones, while the Rangers lean on their skill and mobility to control the pace of the game. Both teams also happen to have Russian goalies who make shooters contemplate the meaning of life with their play, but there are some clear advantages for either team when you take a deeper look. Tactically, the number one way the Rangers can take down Florida is with their special teams. So far in these playoffs, the Rangers have torched their opponents in this category. Their penalty kill is operating at 89.5%, and that's good for second in the postseason. As for their power play, it's third in these playoffs with it clicking at 31.4%. The Rangers' top guys have been able to use their puck movement against aggressive penalty killers to create high danger chances. Like Carolina, the Panthers play a diamond PK, and if it over collapses trying to cover Trocheck or Zibanejad, New York will shift into a 2-1-2 formation to open up a down-low play across the crease. If Florida wants to slow down this power play, they will need to be more calculated with their aggressiveness on the penalty kill. Now, where things may tip into the Panthers' favor is during 5-on-5 play. Like Carolina, the Panthers put a lot of shot volume on opposing goalies. Their 33 shots per game are second in the playoffs so far, and it all starts from Florida's best weapon, which is their forecheck. In the series against Boston, Florida had 43 minutes of ozone possession, and they created over 100 slot shots. The Hurricanes play a similar style to the Panthers with their puck pursuit, and their style of play dominated the Rangers in ozone possession time. Now, the difference between Carolina and Florida is that the Panthers are a more physical team. The Rangers have yet to play a team as physically imposing as the Panthers. With their 1-2-2 forecheck, Florida will make sure to finish every hit, and if they could get the Rangers defensemen to start second-guessing their instincts later in the series, it can snowball into extended possessions for Florida. Now, once a change of possession has happened, the Panthers' shot mentality and ozone puck pursuit may completely grind down the Rangers. But it's that same aggressiveness that can open up the rush game for New York. In the odd time that Florida gets caught being too aggressive, teams can expose them by making a poised play with the puck under pressure. Boston exposed them at times during their series, but with better puck-moving defensemen like Fox and Miller on the Rangers, they can potentially limit Florida's biggest strength. Now, in the defensive department, both teams have been very good at preventing goals, but the Panthers have been better. In pretty much every defensive metric, the Panthers rank first. Florida plays a hybrid system which uses a zone coverage down low and then switches to a man-on-man as the puck goes near the blue line. Every player understands their role, but what separates them defensively is how well they support each other on the puck in all situations. Even when they lose a battle along the wall, the support is there to make sure that the play stays to the perimeter. Forwards retreat to the middle while staying tight. That way, if there is a change of possession, they can make a quick 2-foot pass to start the breakout. With that being said, the Rangers can create some havoc with their motion offense. In the Boston-Florida series, Boston created some great looks by swinging the puck up high and then creating a quick give and go to catch the Florida defender off guard. With Florida playing man-on-man high, McAvoy motions into the zone, beats his man to the net, and gets a solid tip chance because of it. There was more opportunities for Boston to expose this in the series, but they just didn't have the personnel to execute it comfortably. The Rangers, on the other hand, do. With players like Fox, Miller, and Panarin, the Rangers will have 5 players in the O-zone that have the mobility and skill to move around freely. They were able to expose a strong defensive team in Carolina with their movement, and they will look to do the same against Florida. This doesn't just apply in the O-zone either, as the Rangers are far more equipped to beat the Panthers off the rush. Peter Laviolette has given New York the green light to jump up in plays this season and leverage his mobile D-core. It'll be a much different series defensively for Florida, as they will have to be more conscious of defending the rush game. Finally, you can look in between the pipes and pretty much call this a wash. Both Bobrovsky and Shesterkin have been brilliant, and they both have the capability to single-handedly steal games. When one team has a breakdown, either goalie has been able to cover up the mistake. While the margin between these two teams are so thin, there are areas that either team can expose each other. That being said, this whole series will likely come down to just a few mental mistakes. I fully expect this one going 6 or 7 games with both goalies standing on their head. Before we hop into our preview for Dallas and Edmonton, I want to thank Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring today's video. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like goals, shots, goalie saves, and so much more. You can make entries of all NHL picks or dive into the NBA playoffs and mix and match with your favorite sports to win up to 100 times your money. Underdog is available in 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and even Canada, excluding Ontario. For game 1, we're going with Artemi Panarin, McDavid, and Barkov. Special teams have been instrumental in these playoffs, and all 3 guys are crucial to its success. You can pair our picks with the new customer special pick, and if these picks hit, we will be giving away $250 in bonus cash to someone who signs up using our promo code on Underdog. Pick'em is the simplest way to make money on Underdog, so make sure you either click the link in the description below or scan the QR code to sign up with code HockeyPsych and claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. The Edmonton Oilers versus the Dallas Stars. Since January, these two teams have been on a mission. Since the start of the year, the Oilers had 67 points, while the Stars had 65 points, making them the 2 top teams in the West. To get to this point, Dallas has had to go through a gauntlet of past Cup winners. They went 7 games with the defending Cup champs, and then followed that up by beating the 2022 Cup winners in the Colorado Avalanche. Now I, along with many others, picked the Dallas Stars to win the Stanley Cup prior to the playoffs, and that's because of their ability to play any style of game. Whether the game calls for a physical or more creative touch to facilitate and defend, all 4 Dallas lines can play that style. Dallas was the #1 rush team in the NHL this season, yet they won 2 rounds in these playoffs by playing a much more controlled game. If Dallas wants to avoid the McDrysaddle circus, they're going to have to play a similar style defensively as they did against the Colorado Avalanche. With the speed that the Avs had, Dallas's 1-2-2 neutral zone made Colorado's best and fastest players consistently have to go through layers to beat them. This only forced possession changes and took away from Colorado's ability to enter the zone with the puck. With Draisaitl and McDavid being the monsters that they are, Dallas will play a much more passive style to let Edmonton make mistakes. Now, one major wrinkle that can potentially change this entire series is if Connor McDavid is battling an injury. There are rumors that that may be the case, but either way, Vancouver did provide a small blueprint as to how the Stars can contain McDavid and his touches. Vancouver also plays a 1-2-2 like Dallas in the neutral zone, and their support in the middle of the ice rarely left McDavid space to create on the transition. When McDavid was held pointless in Game 5, Vancouver's F3 made it a point to almost always play a bit more passive. That way, they could always stay ahead of McDavid and cut off any potential puck touches where he could use his speed to just flat out burn guys. Dallas as a whole back pressures better than most teams in the league to create these mini 2v1s against puck carriers, so look for them to try and smother McDavid in a very similar fashion. These two teams met 3 times in the regular season, with Dallas winning twice, and this right here is a perfect example of how Dallas will want this series to go. Edmonton tries to force a play up ice, Dallas remains patient in their 1-2-2 and cuts off the wingers to force a turnover. That ends up creating an odd man rush, and as Dallas D activates in the play, it creates a pretty good scoring chance. Vancouver, and JT Miller in particular, was also very physical against McDavid, and anytime they got a chance to finish their check or sneak in a cross check, they made sure to do so. The best players in the world get that kind of treatment, so I fully expect Dallas to do the exact same thing. Now, where Dallas will get most of their solid chances will be on the forecheck. In round 1 versus Vegas, their speed gave a slower Vegas D-core all kinds of issues when breaking out the puck. The Oilers' D more closely resembles Vegas more than it does Colorado in terms of mobility, so the Stars will look to exploit that against Edmonton. Regular season play doesn't matter, but Dallas was able to generate high danger scoring chances with their speed on the Oilers defensemen. When you compare the two teams on paper, it seems like the Oilers don't stand much of a chance, but one area they thrive in is special teams. Similar to the Rangers, the Oilers can steal this series if Dallas is undisciplined. The Oilers have both the #1 ranked penalty kill and power play in the postseason, and they've shown that they can adjust to any sort of game plan so far. Based on what Dallas has played in these playoffs, it looks like they use the same diamond PK formation that Vancouver and LA had against Edmonton. If Dallas decides to just shut down the goal line play like the Canucks did, look for Edmonton to expose them over collapsing by leveraging Bouchard and McDavid up high. Now, if the Oilers can get by the layers of the Dallas D, they may be able to expose Dallas's aggressiveness in the defensive zone. In their own end, the Stars like to swarm their opponents in the corner by sending 2 defenders to attack the 2 closest players to the puck. This will be drastically different to what Edmonton was used to, as in the Vancouver series, Canucks were just extremely passive, and that allowed the Oilers a lot of time and space on the perimeter. However, where problems can arise for Dallas is if Edmonton is able to go low to high and D to D. Forwards can beat the Dallas defenders to the net and create havoc for all kinds of rebound opportunities. Also, with Dallas going man-on-man near the blue line, the Edmonton Stars will use all kinds of scissor routes to try and confuse Dallas's coverage. The Stars may be able to contain McDavid, but if Draisaitl can cook along the half wall where he can use his big frame and puck protection to make plays, it could be a huge difference maker in this series. Now, the biggest question mark is in the crease. Dallas has a clear-cut advantage with Ottinger over Skinner, but the question becomes, which Stuart Skinner are we getting in this series? If he is the shaky Skinner that got pulled in the Canucks series, then this one won't even be close. But if he's on his game and is able to make the right saves at the right time, it'll be a lot closer than people think. So, that is everything you need to know heading into round 3 of the NHL playoffs. Now that you got all the storylines and strategies under your belt, drop your predictions down below and let us know who you think will be going on to the Stanley Cup final. We got tons of breakdowns coming, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss a thing.